those kinds of conflicts never stay contained. They always spread out. They always expand into other territories. Look at Belarus, okay, getting involved. Okay, no, you've got to kill that thing quick. It's like cancer. You find the cell, you kill it. You don't let it metastasize and spread to other organs to say, oh, wow, let's see how this works out. No, you kill the cancer cell. When you find it, you take it out, and then you hope for the best. It's the same in politics, same in war.
Because the deeper Putin gets into Ukraine, the more in a sense he has to lose. If he invaded and a whole bunch of his units got blown up, that right at the start, he would have saved his own a lot of lives of his own soldiers. But then again, people will say, "Oh, we risked nuclear war if we'd done that," you know.
Well, I don't think so, because first of all, Putin would have had to have had a whole series of people behind him supporting launching the nuclear codes. I don't see those generals and other officials sitting there in the Kremlin and in those silos. I don't see those people nodding their head in agreement over vodka and caviar going, you know what? We're going to drop some nuclear weapons right near NATO territory. That's a damn good idea. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think Putin would have been taken out before lunch was over if he had said that, because too many people have too much to lose. And I don't think those people want to be responsible or go down in history as being the people who started World War III with a thermonuclear invasion. I don't think they want that. That makes no sense. I mean, the Russian military mind is a complicated thing, but it is, at the end of the day, a logical mind. Okay, not the political mind, but the military mind. The military mind is a very logical creature. Most professional military leaders are like that. They think things through. They plan contingencies. You look at an operation, and you give yourself 3 or 4 or 5 different fallback positions in case something goes wrong. You have a contingency for this, contingency for that. You know who your adjacent forces, supporting forces are, your supplemental forces. Okay, they're very logical. They're very technically oriented and well-trained mentally in that. At least they were up until the last few years ago. The quality of the military academic training in Russia in the last 15 years has deteriorated to the point to where I think the National Guard of Zimbabwe would probably fare better in some conflicts than Russia right now. And but yeah, I think that Ukraine was a lost opportunity. It was a lost opportunity to stop it quick, stop it cold, give Putin the bloody nose that not even he could recover from. Because I don't care how strong you are as a dictator, if the population in its masses rises against you, look at the Bolshevik Revolution. They were the minority.
The trouble is like even the youth and the people that would make a revolution, most people are soft now. They're on their iPhones all day. They're desocialized. They're isolated. So you don't have that initial catalyst population willing to rise up and take the sacrifice because everything's about me, and that's why these dictators have a lot of power. Look at people that just got steamrolled over in COVID and the lockdowns.
Well, that's true, and people. I think a lot of that was due to ignorance. I don't think it was due to willful compliance. I think a lot of people were following the guidelines because they believed the government. They trusted in what they were being told. Now, in their masses, in their majority, they know they were lied to. And once you have a population come to the realization they were lied to, and they were taken advantage of for your political and personal financial gain, you're going to pay a price for that. You're going to pay a real big price for that. And I think that these world leaders who followed that mantra, I think they're going to pay a price for it as well. It won't be, beheading the king in Paris, like with Louis. And it won't be, hanging Mussolini up and shooting him with his mistress. But it's going to be a political backlash. And it could be violent in some cases. And I think that Putin's situation in Russia is very precarious. I think he would love to pull out and say, okay, we achieved our objective. We've got these buffer areas. We're good. But I think that he is so afraid of showing weakness and showing his people that he didn't have the commitment to follow through with his initial bad judgment, that if he does that, he's done. For him, it's all or nothing. And that makes him a very dangerous person.
Well, it's also all those around him as well. They've got a lot of skin in the game.
Oh, sure they do. Their careers. I mean, just like in my country, you've got these politicians. He's mostly liberals and some Republican rhinos.
Their lives as well. You know?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I understand something though, that because of what Russia's been doing in Ukraine, a lot of those men are going to end up on a list and possibly in the docks at The Hague. Think about that for a second. That if you lose this conflict, you're going to be branded a war criminal if there's evidence to prove that you did things that violate the Geneva Convention of 1949. So if you violated the Articles of War, and it can be proven, then you will be hunted down like Slobodan Milosevic and others. So I think that, yeah, they have a vested interest in keeping their own skins and their own necks out of the noose by perpetuating the stupidity of the invasion. Sure. But they're not the majority. Because you might have a general, 4 or 5 colonels, and about 15 or 20 company commanders in a division. That's fine. But guess what? That division is made up of 10 to 12,000 guys who might not agree with your concept of throwing them into a meat grinder. And they have guns. So the most uncomfortable place to be in the Russian army is at the head of a column of guys who think you don't care about their lives. That's why they've been so slow to take ground. They can't trust their own soldiers.